If we wait for our intentions to be pure before we start to do good things, we'll be long gone in this life. I start to do the good things regardless of whether I'm a good person or not, because hopefully those good things will make me a good person. We went down to the Dominican Republic. We saw the extreme poverty that these people live in, people without a name. And we said to ourselves, we can't walk past this situation and not do anything. To see the situations that they live in, to see the poverty, to see the disease that they live in, the deprivation, all of those things, we can't walk by and say, I can't do anything. I must do something. And I think it's important that that's how our parish got involved with that. And I think that's all it takes really, is just one or two people to be able to say, let's do this. We found that place down in the Dominican Republic. We came back and said, here's the situation, who wants to help? And from that point on, 8 or 9 years later, we continue to do the same thing each and every year. These are the people that we're talking about down in the Dominican Republic. A forgotten people. It's an opportunity for me to do what my family did before me, what Christ himself did before me. Take the opportunity to look around, to reach out to those people that feel marginalized, unwanted, unloved in the world, and to give them a little love, to give them a little bit of attention, to maybe put a smile on their face. And I think people understand that here, living in this society. They understand that. And they feel the same way. They feel the same call to Christ. Mother Teresa was very, very famous for saying, God doesn't ask us to be successful. He asks us to be faithful. He'll put in the successful part, okay? He asks us to be faithful to that call. My job, my calling is to be faithful to the call that I've been given. There are lots of different groups that go down, mostly Christian, but I would imagine that there are others, that go down to the Dominican Republic often as possible to try to do whatever they can. They see the poverty so close to home, so close to home. And these people, again, they're forgotten. They're absolutely forgotten. And yet they're surrounded by resorts. We close ourselves off into our world as if we were closing ourselves into a resort. And what happens on the outside of that, no one cares. We all have an obligation to one another. Listen, Christ himself said to us, what good is it, right? What good is it if to love only those people that love you? Even the worst sinners love the people who love them. What I'm asking you to do, Christ says, is to reach out to those people that you may not even know. I'm not asked to get a thank you, okay? A thank you that I want is not in this world. The thank you that I want is in the world to come. We believe that the conscience is God's voice in each of us, in all people, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, anything. This is where God speaks to us. It's in the conscience, and all people have it. A person who walks past another who is there, as the story of the Good Samaritan was, to walk past the person in need and say, I can do nothing. Are they listening to the voice of God that speaks to them? Whether they're a religious person or not, that doesn't matter. Do I think that we have obligations? Yeah, I think we're obligated. When we look around the world, we see it on the television, we read in the newspapers, on the internet, we see the situations that go on around the world. Sure, it's easy to say that I feel sorry for them, I feel sympathy for them. But there's a word that we have to concentrate on, that we have to really think about. Christ uses it a lot. As a matter of fact, Christ did it himself. It's the word compassion. Compassion is more than feeling sorry for someone. It's more than having sympathy for somebody. It's call to action. It's putting my sorrow, my concern into action. To not just say that I feel sorry for you, to say that I feel sympathy for you. I take that compassion, take that sympathy, and I put it into action so that not only do I suffer for you, I suffer with you. That's what compassion is all about. To say to the other person, I understand how you feel, and I'm going to not only suffer with you, I'm going to suffer for you, so that I put your needs in front of my own needs. This is what compassion is all about. When we go down to the Dominican Republic, we stay with a group of sisters there on what we would consider to be a teacher's college. Now, I use that term loosely because the experience there is slightly above camping. We get there, it's hot, there's no air conditioning, there's no windows. You lie in bed at night and you just sweat from the moment you get in there to the moment you get out. There's no hot water, it's only cold water. You can't drink the water out of the faucet. The food is different than we're used to. We travel on buses for hours after hours after hours. We get into the blazing hot sun, we distribute all the goods that we have. They don't wait in nice lines. They're grabbing at us and calling us, I need this, I need that. It's a difficult situation to put yourself in that for 6 or 7 days, each and every year. And yet, we're inconvenienced. We're inconvenienced. Suffering, there's worse sufferings in the world, but yeah, okay, you'd call it suffering. We don't have to do that. We don't have to go down there and give things out. We don't have to sweat at night. We could stay here in our air conditioning at night. I do things to go unnoticed. The important thing for me is that I'm doing what I think I'm called to do. And if I can attract other people to do that, I ask them to do whatever they think their heart, their conscience tells them. In the end, their heart and their conscience is from God. I'm not in this world alone, but I recognize that I'm supposed to be, I should be, if I'm living my conscience, something telling me that I don't just take from this world. I try to put back. And again, not just for those people that I love, okay? The ones that are around me. That's where I practice my love with my family, okay? But when I start to be a little bit more adventurous, I try to let that love go out to other people. People that I don't know necessarily. And those people that may need my help, I may be the only one there. I may be the only person that would ever reach out to them, just to give them an opportunity to say, somebody cares. Somebody cares. I can't force anyone to look out for other people. You can't force anyone to do it. And I never force anyone to do anything. You do what you feel you're called to do. And in the end, I believe, and we believe, that's the voice of God. Each particular year, we take on students from down there. We have a man that's down there working with the Archdiocese down there in San Pedro. And students approach him and they approach the Archdiocese and say, I'd like to go to university. In particular, I'd like to be a nurse or I'd like to be a doctor. They go through a process, present their grades, they enroll, do the testing, everything else like that, and they enter into medical school. This year we had our first doctor graduate, Dr. Esquel, his name is. And he sent us a letter. And basically what he said was, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to do this for other people. Who would think that a person, me growing up, in living in the situation that I lived, in a batey, in a village so poor we can't even afford hydro or water or any food, clothes on our backs, is now a medical doctor. It's because of you and your work that you've inspired me to be what I wanted to be. And I promise you that all the effort that you put into me will not go unfruitful. I will do the best that I possibly can all the days of my life because you went beyond what you were called to do. One of the medical doctors that goes with us, Dr. Del Rizzo, Dr. Dario, last year, Esquel came to us before his graduation, before his internship, and said, I need a stethoscope. I need a high blood pressure monitor. I need to do this in order for me. I need to purchase this. And I was hoping that you could help us with this. And Dr. Dario, without hesitation, he had a stethoscope around his neck. He put it into his medical bag, took out the blood pressure monitor, put it into the bag, and closed it up. And he gave it to Esquel. And he said, Esquel, my father gave this to me when I became a doctor. My father was a painter My father did very, very, very hard work and to put me through medical school. It broke him to put me through medical school. And this was his gift to me. And I swore I would never part with it because it reminded me of my father and the sacrifice that he made. He gave it to Estelle, and he said, I want you to have it. I want you to be the best doctor that you can be. The best doctor that you could ever dream of being. And when you do it in honor of my father. I don't think there was a dry eye in the place, because it was a sacrifice that Dario gave to another person. This had such deep sentimental value to him, it was priceless. And he was willing to give it up in a moment to a person who could serve other people. That's what sacrifice is. To be able to truly give of myself. Not all people are called to do that. Or should I say, all people are gifted to be able to do that. We do what we can. Some people can give all they have. Others can give a little. It's never, ever the amount. It's the spirit in which you give it. It's all that matters. It's the spirit in which you give it. It's never the amount. That's one of the few lessons that I'll always remember about sacrifice and how this doctor was willing to give to another person without counting the cost. The cost was invaluable, priceless.